Hey guys, I'm back today, and today we're talking about comfort, convenience, and luxury habits of chic and elegant women. I thought this would be an interesting topic for today. It's been kind of on my mind for the last couple of weeks, and I was saving this for a pajama party, but I thought, well, let's just talk about it today. We can do something different tomorrow. So, this concept of when I was in my 20s, let's start there. When I was in all my 20s, when I was working, I thought that the purpose of life and the purpose of earning money and the purpose of going and working hard was so you could make money to afford all the luxuries and conveniences that you can possibly afford in life, right? And I thought this is just what you did. You made money and then you made your life as convenient and as luxurious as you could possibly afford. And there was this sort of like this tier and this like building, almost like a staircase. Once you reached one level, you have to strive for the next. And once you reach that level of comfort or luxury, you had to go to the next step and the next step. And it was just this never ending staircase, right? And in the last decade and a half even, my concept of what is comfort, what is convenient, and what is luxury has really evolved and changed. So much so that it's just I think it's just like completely turned upside down. And I've been on one extreme of the spectrum at some point, and then the other, and then I've kind of made my way somewhere in the middle. And it's something that I'm constantly thinking about, over evaluating, thinking about, and working and striving to get better at in my life. I know many of you guys are joining me. Welcome, guys. Hi, Ross, Padma. I will be taking questions and comments. I do want this to be interactive. So I think a lot of us in society think that. I think especially in the American culture, our definition of what is luxurious and what is convenient and what is comfort is very different than other parts of the world, right? And even if we for a second left out third world countries and just thought about the first world countries, our standard is still very different, and our thought process on what is luxury and what we can afford is very different. So I want to introduce the first concept that I think this is more of a recent learning for myself, which has been that money is not the only price that we pay, right? We think that we pay with money, that if I can afford it in the amount of dollars that I have, then I can afford it. But we have talked about the concept before, Irfan and I, on how we have to also place the value of time and energy into the assessment of, can we actually afford this? So for example, I'm backtracking a little bit to kind of give you guys the framework and the foundation in case you haven't seen those videos. For example, if I have $2,000 and I want to buy something for $2,000, technically I can afford it. But if it takes me a month to earn those $2,000, then I really have to evaluate on a different playing field, because I don't know if I want to give up another month of my life to afford that item. So now you're thinking on a completely different level. You're not just thinking, here's my $2,000, I want that item, I'm going to buy it. You're also thinking, what is the time that I'm exchanging for that $2,000? And then there's the concept of energy. You know, we trade time for money, but we also trade energy, because if you work 8 hours in a day and you come home and you have spent all of your most energetic energy, let's just say, in your work, and you come home and you have so much less to devote to other things like your own self-care and your family and other things, then, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, a lot of us have to do that, but now we're also introducing the concept of, not only is it worth my money, is it worth my time, and is it worth my energy to buy this item? And I want to introduce to you a fourth concept, which we haven't really talked about a lot here in relation to being able to afford things. And that is the currency of health. So this is going to be a little bit different than I think a lot of you will imagine. But let's get through some of my points, and then you'll see the connection in time, energy, money, and health. So I was at a spa last year, and I told you guys about this. It was one of those Korean spas where you spent like 24 hours there and doing like different saunas and things like that. And typically I'm not a spa girl, but this is a very different experience. It's one in Dallas that I was able to go with the family. And there was a woman in the dressing room, in the changing room, and she was very loudly and, with her girlfriends analyzing whether she should upgrade the spa package. So there is a payment that you pay to get in, but then you can upgrade that spa package. And her rationale, like I was literally hearing her debate this, and she was telling her girlfriends that I really worked hard this week. I worked a lot of overtime hours. Should I upgrade this package? And she kept battling back and forth with it, and she was saying, it's only $250. I really deserve it. I need this. I'm so exhausted from all this overtime that I did. And so in the end, it seemed like she had convinced herself to go for it. But honestly, and that's her decision, and I'm sure she enjoyed it. But honestly, I did not see her put in that argument, that concept of if you had to work overtime and really exhaust yourself in earning that money, then how are we not factoring in the time and the energy factor? And why are we only talking about the $250? Because if you spend that $250, maybe you will feel completely rejuvenated and anew. But if you had to repeat that process again, then isn't it negating it? So you can work overtime, buy the spa package, feel relaxed, work overtime again, and you're kind of stuck in this loop. Or you can not do the overtime and feel relaxed anyways because you didn't do the overtime, if that makes sense. But I did not hear that argument, and I think a lot of us we're not trained to think that way. So we don't think in terms of what is the true cost of luxury, what is the true cost of convenience and comfort. And if you're having to, it's like the hamster on the wheel, right? You're having to constantly be uncomfortable working more to buy more comfort. Is that really comfort? Is that really convenience? Is that really luxury? Now, I'm not here, this is a non-judgment zone. I really want this to be a non-judgment zone because I've been in every place of that spectrum. You guys have literally watched my whole journey unfold on my thinking process about comfort and convenience and luxury. And so I am not one to judge, but I am using this platform that I have in order to raise the conversation and the awareness of the true cost that we pay. I love a luxurious, comfortable life. I love convenience. I really do. In fact, if you guys watch my law of attraction video on my vision board, this year's 2007's one of the words that I chose for this year was luxury, was to live luxuriously. But my definition has changed for what I find luxurious. Some of it is the same as everybody else. I love me a good pair of shoes. I love nice clothes and things like that. But I also try to evaluate all of those purchases on a different level as far as what am I trading for that luxury. So let me give you guys a slightly different example. So recently, there's been a lot of companies locally here in the Houston area offering food grocery delivery, right? So even Walmart offers this now, where you can order all of your groceries online and then you pull up to the curb and they put your groceries in your trunk of your car for you. And I think it's an amazingly convenient service for people that are busy individuals, single moms, senior citizens, and people that just can't afford that time and going and doing the groceries for them, right? But here's where there is like a building platform of convenience and luxury where it gets a little complicated. So let's say that you are somebody that has your groceries delivered, all of your lawn care is taken care of you, convenience, right? Luxurious. Your house is managed by a maid or a housekeeper that cleans your entire house top to bottom. You have a nanny service or a daycare that takes care of the bulk of your child care during the day, and that affords you the luxury and the convenience of being able to work and not have to worry about those things, right? And I think that's awesome for people that are busy individuals. But let's just say that what if the human body was not designed to take in that kind of convenience. This is really my strong belief and my argument that we bought the convenience with the money that we made from our job. And now let's say that you have a desk job where you traded in walking into the grocery store, walking in, for 30 minutes, collecting your groceries, checking out, bringing the groceries home, putting them away, and all that stuff. That would maybe take you an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. The lawn care maybe would have taken you 30 minutes. The cleaning your home maybe takes you 2 hours a week. Child care, running around with the kids, doing activities, maybe, you're burning some calories and some energy. If you traded all of that physical energy and activity with sitting at a desk job and then coming home and not having to do any of that, I think on some level you paid a lot more than just with the money. So I'm not saying that these are not, these are absolutely convenient services. We actually use some of them. You guys know we pay for lawn care. That's just something Irfan doesn't enjoy doing. I don't enjoy doing, so we just outsource that. Completely okay. So it's not about making judgments. My sister uses the home, grocery delivery thing. She's a busy working professional and she's a mom, and it just makes her life so much easier. So I'm not here to cast judgment on that. What I'm saying is that if we don't substitute some of that energy or that physical activity that we saved by making our lives super, super convenient, we are paying in a big way that we don't realize. So if you ordered your groceries and you had them delivered and you used that time to go work out instead, or go hiking or take a walk, then I would say, okay, you're still an active being, and that made sense to me. It's the problem personally for me is when it gets to a point where if I can afford to have, technically I can afford to outsource everything, right? I can have a maid, I can have childcare, I can have lawn care, I can have my groceries delivered. But if I'm using that time and energy saved to sit and watch TV or watch YouTube videos or just sit all day long doing whatever, then there is such a big price to pay in that. And so I have really been evaluating this concept of comfort and how much comfort is really needed in my life, how much luxury is needed. So come with me as I want to take some of your comments too. About this topic. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm getting a lot of highs and hi guys. I'm so happy that you guys are here, but I really want you guys to tackle this topic with me a little bit. Post some comments, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know, what do you guys think about this? In the long run, I think the lack of activity also would make me have less energy. So it's like we're paying in so many different ways. And so I've been really mindful that I use my money really wisely. I use my time wisely. I use my energy wisely, and I use my health wisely, because I think we have to evaluate how we spend all of these things to really have a balanced life. I think convenience and comfort has a much higher price than we think. I'm also going to argue, as much as I love luxury and comfort and convenience, I think that having too much convenience and luxury in our life makes us weak. It makes us a slave to money, and it makes us a slave to others. And so let's dive in deeper with that a little bit. It's also, for example, it's great to be able to afford to have a cook, let's say, and a maid and childcare. But if you have never learned to do those things and you are really dependent on somebody else, then is it really a true luxury? A luxury to me is if I know how to do something and I'm capable of doing it, but I would rather outsource that and use my time to create something else, work out, do something else that's equally as engaging and active and life-giving, then I think that for me personally, again, no judgment on anybody else, for me personally, that's worth a great trade-off. For example, Irfan and I both know how to mow the lawn, but it's hot here in Texas. We don't want to do it. It costs only $30 every 2 weeks. We just outsource it, right? But let's say that if my son never learned how to lawn mow, and he never learned how to cook, and he never learned how to clean, he never learned how to do laundry, and he outsourced everything and he can afford to do so. That's great on some levels, but I think that also makes him really weak. It makes him a slave. At some point in his life, if he was not able to afford those things, he's just missed out on the opportunity of so many life skills. And I think some of these things can be life-giving as well. There is a pleasure in cleaning your home. Not for everybody, but for some people, we can find it's almost as therapy. When I used to work full-time, I was working really long hours. I had my own business. I was also a full-time student at that time, and I was a single mother, right? But I would come home and clean my home myself. I never outsourced that because I found it was almost therapeutic for me. I think a lot of people would come home, watch TV, unwind in whatever way, go out maybe with their friends or sit back. To me, it was really therapeutic to come home and clean and take control of my environment because I had been away from it for so long. So I think some people love doing laundry. Some people find joy in creating amazing dishes and foods and, cuisines and things like that. There are different joys in that you may be missing out if you never learned how to do those things. I think this hurts the next generation because if we outsource everything and we don't teach them how to do it, for example, cooking, cleaning, finances, childcare, where do you draw the line? At what point do you say that I need to do something for myself too? And a funny thing that comes to my mind, the funny example is, what if you outsourced everything in your life and only to go and have to do it for somebody else to earn the money to outsource it? I know this is a ridiculous example, but what if you were cooking, cleaning, and taking care of somebody else's kids, and then you were outsourcing everything else in your life? Like, it's this funny, like, kind of weird, vicious cycle, and I think we're transferring some of that into our children. We want to give them this life of convenience and comfort and luxury, but we're handicapping them in some ways because it's great to want to give our kids all those things. I want to provide them with those things as well, but not in the same way that we imagine, I think, or in the same way that we're used to thinking about it. I think if I don't teach my children finances and I say, hey, you can hire a financial advisor, I've really made them a slave to the financial advising industry, and I've handicapped them. If I say, hey, why do you need to go, learn how to cook? You can there's so many restaurants, there's meal delivery systems, just do that. It's only a luxury, I think, all of those things, if you already know how to do them. Otherwise, you're just a slave to the system and you're always kind of stuck in that cycle. Again, this is not supposed to be like, if you're outsourcing some of those things, I think that's luxurious. But if you are outsourcing everything, or if you have never even learned to do any of those things, then at the very least, I want you to pause and question, what am I trading in return of this convenience and luxury? Let's see some of the comments. I have more thoughts that I will be going through, but I want to see what people are saying. AC Jesse said, I love hearing you talk about the currencies. This is the first time I have listened where you mentioned health as a currency. And Jesse, I just recently realized that is my fourth currency, and I don't know why I did not include it before, but maybe I've just made that connection myself because I see people outsourcing their life so much so, and then they I'm not trying to poke fun of anybody or anything like that. I think this is just a society that we've become. They may be like 100 pounds overweight and sitting, and they've outsourced everything in their life, or they've just let it go, but they're not realizing that money is not the only way that they could afford it. If you are unhealthy, overweight, not fit, even if you're not overweight, you're not fit, you have the money to outsource to some things, like cleaning, let's say. I want you to evaluate if you can really afford the lack of physical activity. I do this in my life. So this isn't to, turn anybody down or anything like that. There are times that I have, I'm like dreading a task, and I say to myself, I need to look at this as my meditation time, my physical activity time, and not as cleaning time. And then when I am mopping the floor, it feels very different because I'm thinking, you can put on some music and I'm mopping, and that's one thing I'm really getting into, where I'll light some candles, put some music on, and I will consider that my meditation time. And I will mop in a way where I'm almost dancing so that I'm raising my heart rate a little bit. And then I'm saying, I'm not cleaning. This is self-care. I'm blessing my home and I'm blessing my body. So let's add that as our fourth currency. And this may be our most important currency. Irfan and I have said before that time is your most important currency, right? But time can be really miserable if you're not healthy, if you're in pain, or if you're not your fittest, your healthiest, right? So I would even argue that in some ways, health may be your most important currency. Let's see. Sharmila said, hi Mina, love these chic women topics. I'm so glad. I am trying to kind of bring back my glamorous housewife series, but in a slightly different way now. So this is the Chic Women series. Express Revealed said, you're a teacher at heart, Mina. I love how you examine and analyze life. I do it too, and your videos have opened up some interesting and beneficial perspectives for me. I'm so glad that you feel this way, because I don't really I have a couple of friends that I can discuss these things with in this format, but not everybody, because I think a lot of people don't analyze a lot of these things, and that's okay. Maybe we're the ones that are strange and we overanalyze life, maybe, but I like to dive in deeper and think about what is the driving factor, what's the behavior, and why do we do certain things? What is the true cost of it, right? How do we pay for certain things, and not just with a credit card, right? So I do have my friend Sarah and I discuss these things all the time, and so I'm so glad that I do have some friends that want to. But if I didn't have you guys, I don't know what I would do. I'm so glad that I have these women and men of like-minded community that want to dive in deeper and think about not only our own behaviors, but society, and also what we're leaving behind for our children, what legacy we're leaving for them. And that's why I put great care and attention in teaching all of my kids all of life skills, right? I want my sons to know how to cook, and I want my daughter to know how to change her oil. And I want them to have this full range of experiences, even if they can certainly afford to outsource those things in the future. I have no doubt that they will be capable beings, willing and able to outsource them. But why not learn how to do them yourself, so that you're not a slave and nobody can take you for a ride, right? You know how to do those things if you needed to, and you're not slave to money either. Let's see. AC Jesse said, this is what I have been trying to say to my husband. His fantasy of our life of abundance is the mansion with everything done for us while we lounge around. Pride of ownership when you do it yourself. So true. And one thing I will say, Jesse, I love the home that Irfan and I have created for our children, but the house, okay, very different. I love the home that Irfan and I have created for our family, but the house that I currently live in, it's a lot bigger than we need it. And that is one of those things that if I had analyzed this 5 years ago, I probably would have bought a much smaller home. Our home is 4,000 square footage, and we have way more space that we need. My children are still young, where they want to be where we are and not so spread out. And I'm sure as they get older, maybe they will appreciate such a large space, but there's a price to pay for that, right? It takes a lot long to clean and maintain. And we're getting into this routine as a whole family where we're starting to enjoy it now. We're trying to train ourselves to find joy in it and activity in it. But I'm not gonna lie, if it was smaller, I wouldn't have been upset, right? It would have been much easier to maintain. So I think sometimes, and I'm glad that I was able to buy this large home, because it taught me that lesson. Just like my stupid mistake of buying a Lexus, a very expensive, decked out Lexus in my 20s, taught me the lesson of that I really didn't value things like that, the true cost of that. And I got it out of my system, and I will probably never buy a luxurious car. Maybe I will, maybe if Irfan ever wanted to, but knowing him, he drives a 13-year-old Toyota. So knowing him, he probably wouldn't want to. But I'm glad that I had those experiences, because I think it helped me grow as a person and made me realize that my values lie elsewhere, and that these things really don't make me happy. Luxury is nice, but it's not everything. Luxury of mind is, and luxury, like peace of mind, is so much more important to me than luxury in the sense of designer things. And I have designer things, you guys know that, right? But having them, using them, made me realize that they're great if you have all the other things. If you have security and peace of mind and contentment and grace and elegance and happiness and joy in your life, then a luxury handbag can provide you maybe a little bit of value and joy. But if you are only looking at this designer item to fill in some void or provide if that's the only luxury in your life, then I'm here to argue then that your life is not very luxurious. Mine wasn't, at least. Because those things can't fill a void, right? They're make-believe luxury. Even though they're real designer items, they're make-believe luxury because we're trying to fake luxury in our life by buying something high-end, when the other factors that really create the luxury, like the luxury of time and energy and flow and happiness and peace, that if that's all in order, a Louis Vuitton bag can make you feel a little fabulous. I'm not gonna lie. But if you are looking at that Louis Vuitton bag and saying, fill this void in me, fix my broken self, it's not going to do much. I've been there, so I'm speaking from personal experience that it's not going to fill any void. A bag can only do so, it can only carry so much weight, right? Let's see. I apologize if I get your name wrong. Kiniana said, hi Mina, this is a great topic. I'm so glad that you guys enjoy these type of topics. Gayatri said, totally agree with you. Kiniana said, what are your thoughts about vacations? Would this be the same as working overtime to afford a vacation? Oh my God. Comment of the day. Okay, I really wanted to touch on this and I forgot to include it in my thoughts, but of course my sister here, Gayatri, went ahead and picked up on that. Okay, so here's my thought. We stopped actually using the term vacation for the trips that we take because we realized that they are not vacations. And let me start by giving our own life as a example in that, and then I will trail out and talk about that situation that you mentioned. Okay, so we have talked about how we don't agree with charging a credit card or having to work a lot of overtime to be able to afford this vacation, right? But we travel a lot. And so you see the difference. Like, I don't say we vacation a lot because every day we have created a life. Irfan is almost there, right? He's a couple of years away from retirement, but I have created a life where when he comes home, I make sure that he feels like we are on vacation every day. And I've added, we've changed our routine. I will do a separate video on that. I've done these simple things in my daily routine and in the way that I structured my home and my life, where every day feels like a vacation. The minute he walks in, I offer him a drink, and I'll usually have like matcha tea with some chia seeds. If you guys saw my video from yesterday, sitting in the fridge for him, chilled out, I'll give him that, and I can just see that his just whole demeanor changes. And then, we'll have dinner as a family, then we'll go and do a few chores, and then go sit outside and have tea after dinner. And I'm trying to make it where we're already falling into his after retirement routine a little bit. But the reason we call it we travel is because I want to see the world with my family. I want to see every piece of the planet with my children and my family. But the reason we don't call it vacationing is because every day is a vacation. If I think that I'm having to run away to vacation, that means that I haven't arrived in a place in my life yet where I'm living my true life. Because if I'm having to run away from my life, that means that something is out of balance, something is out of line. I've done something wrong. I haven't maybe made the right decisions. I haven't arrived where I need to be. So my vacation is every day. Right now, me hanging out with you guys, discussing these topics, this is vacation. I live for this stuff. Like, I wouldn't have asked for anything else. I travel to go experience different things and teach my children and expose them to different cultures and different languages, even if it's just driving to Louisiana and going to New Orleans or something, right? That's a different culture in itself. It's the culture of Louisiana. So here's why it's important for us to do this. I think when we think of vacation and running away and trying to, people say, I want to vacation to spend quality time with my family. I have a problem with that. And that's great for them, but I don't ever want to have to run away to spend quality time with my family. Every day should be quality time with my family. Maybe every moment isn't, but it should be built into my daily life, right? I shouldn't have to run away to go do that somewhere else, because that means that my home is not set up in a way where I can spend quality time with my family. There's something wrong with that picture for me in my life. So another factor that happens then is that when we travel, we're not looking for luxury when we travel. We're looking for adventure. We're looking for something different. So we're looking for an experience, let's just say. So when we travel, we don't always have to stay at a 5-star hotel. We don't have to always dine at the nicest, most expensive restaurant, right? When we took our cruise, when we went to the different countries that different ports, we ate at we were like, take us where the locals eat. Like where do the locals like sit outside and eat? In the Indian culture, we would call this a dhaba, right? Because it wasn't about luxury. It wasn't about trying to do something that I don't get to, like I'm trying to be somebody else for a moment. It's about being immersed in this culture and enjoying it the way that they enjoy it. And I hope it's making sense. Give me a thumbs up if you guys get it. I think a lot of people that view vacations as like the small lapse of luxury that they can have to work really hard to get, or they can charge on a credit card, and they're trying to cram in luxury, time with family, hiding out, running away, and then experiencing this new place all into one thing. What they end up doing a lot of times is, and I've been there, I'm not trying to, this is a judgment-free zone, like I said. I've been there where when I was that single mom working really hard, I would buy a really expensive package to somewhere in the world with my son and go there and then live in a very expensive resort and then not leave that place that much. And then I'm like, I could have done that in my glamorous condo that I had at that time. And I was running away to vacation and not really immersing myself in the experience, if that makes sense. So one thing that, you guys know, I pack really light when I travel, and I try to teach my kids that vacation is not, or traveling, not vacation. Traveling is not about going somewhere else and then doing the exact same thing you do at home, right? It's about the culture and the experience of it. So I hope that makes sense and answered your question. Frida said, I'm so happy, first time watching your live. Welcome. Krupi said, hi Mina, you have a great point about negating your hard work with the example you have about the spa dilemma. I'm a stay-at-home mom debating whether I should go back to work. However, I would end up paying for daycare with most of what I'll be making. So Kuropi, if I was in your situation and if my earnings were completely negated by daycare cost and whatever other costs, traveling to work, gas money, clothing for work, things like that, then the only way I would do it is if it brought me extreme pleasure and joy in doing that work. Okay? Because then it's like you're weighing all of your currencies, right? If you're spending your energy and your time at work, but you're also not even getting money out of it because you have to pay for these other things, then you should be getting some extreme pleasure out of it. It should be enriching your life beyond belief, right? And if that is your answer, then you know that you're getting something else out of it. But if you're doing it and you're not even getting money out of it and you're not getting anything else out of it, then my straight answer is hell no, not worth it, right? Sumo, I have a whole playlist on time management. I do a time management video every year, and I've done one this year as well. And so you can find that in my playlist under time management. So you will find that. Lisa said, hi Mina, so happy to catch a little live chat during lunch break. So let me go through some of my other points. So I think the rest of it was, I had written down here that I'm not here to tell you where to spend your hard-earned money or your time or your energy or your health. But I invite you to ask yourself these important questions. and to start evaluating your life in these other currencies and not just in the currency that we have been trained since birth to evaluate our life in. And I've been doing that with my own children, and by asking them when they say, oh, this is $20. I say, does it bring you value? How much will you use it? How much will you enjoy it? How long would it take you to earn $20? Of course, they don't work right now, but I'm planting these questions in their head so when they are able to, when they're in those situations, that they use all of their senses and all of their currencies to make those decisions for themselves. I'm not here to mold them into a clone of myself. And I say this to my kids all the time, that your decisions will definitely be different than mine. Some of them will overlap and others will be like a stark contrast. And that is completely okay. Your point in life is not to become a clone of mommy and daddy so that you can mold into this perfect little box. No, you ask yourself your own important questions, and then you live your life according to that. And make your mistakes, have your failures, because so did we. We did not just arrive here one day magically, right? We made so many mistakes and we evaluated them and learned from them and made some of them again and again and again. And so, there's a process, and I don't want them to skip the process either, but I want to plant the questions that nobody planted in my head, right? So that I had to learn on my own. So the right questions are everything. So in my own life, I'm searching for luxury of the mind, peace, contentment, the ability to enjoy the small things, to pause in the moment and savor it, grace, elegance, but hardship in the body. And now this may be, for some people, this may be a very negative term, but really when we do physical fitness, when we work out, when we break down our muscle only to rebuild it or protein later, right? That is hardship. The human body, I have come to the conclusion, was not designed to be so physically at peace, right? I want to be mentally at peace, but I don't want to be sitting around all day long physically at peace, because my body, I told you guys, I sleep around 7 to 8 hours every night. Sometimes it's less, I can't do more though. For some reason, if I'm laying down for 9 hours or 10 hours, my body becomes really stiff. And I don't know if this is remnants of my autoimmune disease. I have had rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know if it's from that, but all I know is that my physical body does not being very comfortable for long periods of time. It likes being a little uncomfortable. So when we go outside and if we're walking for long periods of time and my kids say, I'm tired, I pause and I help them evaluate that for a minute. I say, then, why, instead of saying I'm tired, you have to question yourself. You haven't built up the muscles yet to be able to, I say I'm, twice, 3 times, whatever your age. And if you are getting tired a lot quicker or easier, that all that means is that you haven't built that resistance yet, right? And that's exactly what we're doing right now, is that we're training our bodies to go a little bit further. Yes, it's important to rest and rejuvenate. You guys know I promote self-care. That's part of what I teach here, right? But where self-care becomes and self-indulgence becomes a problem is when we get too comfortable. It's when we have no movement and no physical the girl that brought up the luxury mansion and just sitting back and relaxing, where do we draw the line? Mr. Money Mustache at one of his conventions, he's the blogger that I've talked about here quite a bit, said, where do we draw the line? If we buy a mansion and we hire staff to take care of it, and we hire a nanny and we hire a cook, do we also get like a bedpan because we don't want to stand up and go to the restroom anymore? I mean, how lazy do we have to get before we realize that we were not designed to be that lazy? We need active movement. We need flexibility in our life. And I hope that this is not going to sound wrong. And I think a lot of people take sometimes what I say the wrong way. And I'm trying to say it in a way that it doesn't come off offensive, hopefully, to people. But let me give myself as an example. When I was 25 years old, if I had seen a millionaire doing all of their own chores and living a certain way, that would have raised a strange eyebrow, right? It would have been like, huh? Like, I thought the whole point of working hard and getting millions and getting rich was so that my life would be luxurious and I would just be laying around by the pool and having people do stuff for me. Because I was really working hard at the time, I imagined that I would be just laying back and not lifting a finger when I arrived somewhere. But it would also have raised the question that, wow, maybe I need to reevaluate what money really means and what life really is about, and why successful people, a lot of the world's millionaires and billionaires, tend to have a very minimalist mindset. Could it be that what we imagine money brings, it doesn't, and that maybe the comforts that we thought we could afford with money really make us weak, and they make us lose, like there's no value in it. Like, for example, if I wanted to outsource everything, you guys know I could, right? But my health and my vitality, my vibrancy, my mind, my flexibility, everything would be destroyed. Because even if I don't enjoy doing the dishes or mopping on certain days, in some ways those things keep me alive and active and flexible. And a little bit of hardship, not that those things are hardship, but you know what I mean, like work in whatever shape and form, if we, whether we enjoy it or we're doing it for activity sake and stuff, I think it's our growth. We need it. We weren't designed to be inactive of the mind or of the body. And I think this is a key factor that's missing. It took me a long time to piece this puzzle together. So the other thought I wanted to make was, Kuropi said, thanks for being so real like always, Mina, and thanks, Frida. Frida said, I think you should also consider the benefits that you will receive at work, retirement insurances. Frida said, I love your joy for life. I really need to work on enjoying the moment and not rushing through things. Frida, that is such a great point. I actually have a video coming up on that soon, because this is a point that you guys know Femina. She's also one of my subscribers. She actually requested that video on that tendency to want to rush through things just to move on to the next thing. And I really want to take a point and do a video on that. I think that is a great topic. So I want to leave you guys with, convenience and luxury are only convenient and luxurious when they are an occasional indulgence. If they become the everyday like goal, and like that's the only thing you're striving for is that you can work hard and get so much money that you never have to move a finger in your life, you never have to, like everything becomes luxurious, then it's not luxurious. And a great example of that is by looking at our celebrities, right? I mean, they are rich and famous and beautiful, and they have all the luxuries that the world can, they can afford all the luxuries. And then we find out that some of them kill themselves, or they're on drugs, or they're alcoholics, and you're just like, huh? Like, what happened, right? I thought this is what everybody wanted. But maybe if every day is luxury, then it's not luxury, it's mundane. It's you have no value for it. But if your every day is cherished and you live in gratitude and you're a content person and you have little sprinkles of luxury in your life, you cherish them so much more and you find so much value in them, that I would argue that you are living a more luxurious life than the billionaire, billionaire celebrity, I guess, that is an alcoholic and has no value for all of the luxurious things because they sedate themselves on a daily basis with the alcohol or drugs or whatever. So who's winning there, right? So I think it's so important to know that there's this like concept of fear of missing out, right? We're always looking at social media and celebrities or even other people, everyday people that only project the best of themselves on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and we think, wow, every day is amazing. It's only a snapshot of their day, and maybe that was the only luxury in their day, right? But we think, oh my god, like we have to have luxury all the time, we need to be surrounded by it. Luxury is appreciating everything that you have. Yes, you should be working and achieving and growing, and maybe you want more luxury in your life, and there's no judgment from me. I love luxury. It's part of my vision board for this year. But it's funny how you start off thinking of luxury in one way and then you discover that that wasn't luxury at all. That that luxury is a different meaning for you. That true luxury for me, again, is that peace of mind. It's feeling secure and confident and having faith in myself and having faith in other people and in the world and in the universe, and just living a graceful life, even if it's mundane and quiet at times, but being able to cherish that as well. And maybe having sprinkles, maybe a cute top that makes me feel fabulous could be luxurious to me, even if it cost me $20. But I think we have to reevaluate our definition of luxury and our definition of convenience and of comfort, right? Like, for example, if you are running late and you run into the convenience store, right? And you grab a quick breakfast. Boy, was it convenient, right? But was it really, right? You paid a little bit more for it, but maybe that was worth it for you for that day because you were running late. But then maybe it was complete junk and you just fueled your body the most amazing, like the most precious gift that you will be given, right? It's where your soul resides. You just put junk in there. You fueled your day and your body with junk. Was that really convenient? So, and I'm not assigning any feeling to that other than the fact that think about these things for yourself and make your own decisions. And every time I give these little, I don't know, I don't want to call it, it's not, every time I have these conversations with my children, I also throw in so many disclaimers on how I'm not trying to tell you to do one way or another. In your assessment, running into the convenience store and buying a breakfast could be completely okay, and that is fine. But if you ask those important questions and arrive there, awesome. But if you did it mindlessly and you're just on autopilot, then I invite you to train yourself to ask those important questions. And it's a daily progress, right? It's not like I am always in tune with all of this and I just run my entire life, because then that will become autopilot, right? It's that constant questioning yourself and growth and development, right? I received some emails recently from old-time subscribers saying how they felt like I had changed and they could no longer relate to me. And I was thinking, if you are really my well-wisher, if you're my friend, why would you want me to stay stagnant? I would never wish that for any of my friends. I want my friends to be growing and evolving, even at times. Sometimes we are doing so in a parallel way where we're not always intersecting. That's okay. And sometimes I've had to let go of relationships or friendships too, because no one person was wrong or right, but we grew in a different way. So I hope you can understand that growth and personal development is so important to me that I want you to email me if you feel like I'm not growing and if I'm always at the same place, because that would be a more concerning factor in my life. I embrace change and growth. I find value in that. So I thought that was interesting, because if you guys really know me, if you've known me over the years or gotten to know me just recently, you would know that growth is an important part of my life. So I promise you I will change. That's just what I thrive on. Let's see. Evelyn said, the bottom line is luxury is something else to everyone. Everyone's definition of luxury is different. I agree. But even the same person's definition of luxury changes over time. So my definition of luxury right now is very different than my definition of luxury 20 years ago. And that's fine. So it's not this constant thing either, Evelyn. So what your definition of luxury is may change in the next 10 years. And it may evolve and grow with you. It may not, but it may. So as in my life, a lot of my definitions for things have changed, because that's just what the path that I've chosen for my life is, to always be growing and changing. And not just for change's sake, but you learn, right? There's just so much to learn and grow into. Express said, inner peace and authentic self-love, not arrogance, is true lux. That's what leads to us living our best life. Love that. Could not agree with that more. That is luxury. That is luxury. Neelam, which is Rajat Singh, said, hi Mina, just now catching you live, was in Europe on tour for tour for 2 weeks with parents, siblings, and my brother. Wow, that sounds amazing. She said, missed you so much, now catching all your videos. Well, I'm happy to have you back, but that was a good cause to definitely to miss videos for. So I'm glad that you're back and you enjoyed your trip. Universal Journey said, I love you more now, Mina, because your videos are so positive. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Evelyn said, I totally agree with you and love your perspective. So one last thing that I will leave you guys with is that in evaluating luxury, I still enjoy luxury. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I ask myself, this is so luxurious. I'm really cherishing it right now. But can I let go of it if needed? Would I be okay if I didn't have it? And the things that I would not be okay with not having, obviously, it's peace of mind and contentment and gratitude. Those are my pillars of luxury, right? Those are my foundations. And then the things that are traditionally luxurious, like people in the sense that maybe designer bags or shoes or clothes, like I enjoy them, but I would completely be okay in my life. My life would be fully complete if they did not exist. Even though I enjoy having certain luxuries in my life, those type of luxuries, I can survive without them. Same thing for Irfan and I love to go have dinner outside, right? We love cuisine and we're foodies. But if we could not afford that or could not go for some reason, that would be completely okay too. But because we love cooking and sharing meals with each other equally as much. So don't negate or let go of important life skills in the name of luxury. I have a cousin that went back home and married somebody, and when she came over here, he applied for her visa and all this stuff, and when she came here, every time she needed to do something, she said, well, I can't do that. We had servants for that. And back in India and Pakistan, you can afford to have everything outsourced, right? They're really poor third world countries. And so they have, labor is very cheap, unfortunately. And so even the people that aren't really wealthy have everything outsourced. I know people that have a maid for cooking. So they have a cook, somebody comes in for cleaning their floors, somebody else comes in for cleaning their walls, somebody else comes in to doing their laundry. So they have 5 or 6 people coming in and out of their home on a daily basis. So it's very common there. But every time she refused to cook, she refused to clean up after herself, she refused to drive, she refused to take care of children after she had them, she would only sit around and watch TV. Like she was not capable of doing anything. And so she wasn't working, she was a stay-at-home mom. And so my cousin would come home from work and cook, clean for her, pick up after her, and pick up and drop off the kids. And it just became this thing where she just became really overweight and she would just watch TV all day long. And I was just amazed at this excuse of that I grew up in luxury and I never had to do these things, therefore I refuse to do them. And so that's where luxury becomes a problem to me, because that is not luxury, that is not convenience, and that is somebody else had to pay the price of your luxury, right? Your spouse, your children. So I invite these important questions. That's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live chat, this live class. I really enjoyed it. And I will catch you guys tomorrow for my pajama night. And that's it, guys. I love you guys so much. Bye. Catch you later.